Why is the Apostle Paul so insistent on Christians doing good works? Well, let me give you 3 reasons. One is that while we're not saved, by good works, we are saved for good works. We saw that just last week in the previous context of verses 4 through 8. We're saved, or we're justified by His grace and mercy, but we are saved to do good works. We're saved for good works, right? Which we were created for, to walk in. So I love the quote by Martin Luther who says, God doesn't need your good works, but your neighbor does. Your community does. And when we think of good works, let's not just limit it to works of service, like helping out a neighbor or a coworker. Right? Those are works of service. But when the Apostle Paul is using good works, he's talking about heaven coming down here on earth, which means, yes, works of service, but works of justice, works of reconciliation, works of restoration of a person, a family, a community. And so we want to have a big picture when it comes to, we must devote ourselves to doing what is good. So that's one reason. The second reason is people need to taste and see that Jesus is good. And they do it through God working in you for good works. Right? That's more powerful and impactful than listening to a message like this, or listening to a message on good works. Right? That God can use that. It's not unimportant. But what's really going to be the most powerful is someone tasting and seeing through the good works that is done through your life. That's the second reason. Third reason that Paul is so adamant about Christians doing good works is that we got to be intentional. Because if we're not intentional about doing good, what happens is we just drift to a life of mediocrity. The way the Apostle Paul put it was unproductive. And so if you're wondering, can Christians live unproductive lives? Absolutely. Many of these Christians in the Church of Crete were living unproductive lives, which means that they knew that they were supposed to do good, but they only were doing good on occasions. But what do we read? Like in verse 1, it says, remind the people to be ready to do good. Meaning, if you're sitting down, you're on the edge of your seat. You're standing up, you're ready to move. You have an expectation that God is going to use you today. He's going to use you tomorrow to do good. You want that. You're praying for that. You have this expectation. It's not like, well, maybe God will use me this week. No, He is going to use you this week to do good. We must teach our people. We must remind our people to be devoted to doing what is good.